Excellencies, distinguished delegates, the United Kingdom is a committed member of the United Nations and also of the Food and Agricultural Organization. Since 2014, we know that hunger has been rising around the world as a consequence of the pandemic which has engulfed us all. It has still risen further to threaten almost 1 billion people across the globe. And as climate change threatens to drive the number of hungry people even higher, the world needs to act. It needs collective action. It's remarkable that global food production has tripled in the last 40 years, delivering economic growth and indeed poverty reduction. Yet, sadly, that success has not been for everyone, everywhere. Hundreds of millions are still malnourished without access to affordable, nutritious diets. Droughts, floods, pests and diseases reduce productivity in parts of Africa and Asia, where the poorest, the most vulnerable, rely on farming to feed their very own families. But our food systems are not just the result of climate change. In many places, they contribute to climate change. It is clear that we cannot continue to produce, indeed consume food in the way we have, without damaging our planet and driving further inequalities. We also know that conversion of natural ecosystems for crop production and pasture is the principal cause, the main cause of habitat and biodiversity loss. We also know it's the cause of massive soil erosion, water pollution and deforestation. We also know that the damage is catastrophic and fundamentally it is unsustainable, not just for those countries impacted, but for all of us. If we are truly to commit ourselves, if we are to provide for those who are hungry and provide now, let alone the 9 billion people who will share this planet by 2030, we need a totally radical shift in how we produce food. At the UN Climate Action Summit in 2019, the United Kingdom and indeed other partners launched the Just Rural Transition to put policy and investment behind more productive and sustainable land use. A major part of that is rethinking agricultural practices and incentives and increasing public support for research and development. Consider that each year the top 50 food-producing countries pour $700 billion into support for destructive land use. Reflect on that. $700 billion into support for destructive land use. That's 4 times the world's annual aid budget, and coincidentally, roughly what we would need to reverse environmental destruction. So imagine the impact if even part of this public support was redirected to help farmers transition to climate-friendly, nature-positive land management. It's profound. As G7 President this year, we are working on getting the world back on track for the Zero Hunger Sustainable Development Goal. We aim to do that in a more climate-resilient way than ever before, reviewing policies with harmful impacts and delivering nature-based positive outcomes. We are also committed to working directly with the private sector. This just isn't about governments. It's about the private sector. It's about all communities, all societies, to promote sustainable food supply chains. And also, we recognise as hosts of COP26, we want to increase global investment in nature-based solutions. It's vital we act to do just that. Solutions that support climate, nature and people, and make sure that public money backs research and takes agricultural innovation to scale. The Food and Agricultural Organization, of course, has a pivotal and critical role to play in this, to support the most vulnerable members of communities, to access also, importantly, the finance that is required. Excellencies, colleagues, friends, we all have an opportunity at the upcoming Food Systems Summit to bring these strands together and accelerate the process of renewal for the benefit of not one country, but for all of us. This conference will approve the Food and Agricultural Organisation's programme of work and budget for 2022 to 2023, and also, importantly, the new strategic framework for 2022 through to 2031. We welcome the prioritisation of support to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. We also further welcome the focus on the organisation's comparative advantages, combating antimicrobial resistance, supporting countries to deal with transboundary diseases and pests like desert locusts, and providing technical assistance on food safety standards. I'll conclude my brief remarks by assuring everyone at this conference and beyond that the United Kingdom is and will remain to be one of the FAO's strongest supporters, as this organisation realises its true potential, its renewed commitment to meet the challenges of climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, friends, achieving a world without hunger in a way that can be sustained and without jeopardising the interests of future generations should be our collective priority. Therefore, we, the United Kingdom, share your commitment to sustainable agriculture and to ensure a world where all people can achieve and live without hunger. Thank you.